Hi, my name is Heather Russell. I'm the owner of Onward Endeavors, and I wanted to share with you some thoughts that I've been having lately, some guided introspection activities that I've been doing with myself that I thought might be helpful to you and your days. All of us are experiencing things a little bit differently than we typically would do. And with the work that I normally do with my clients, I thought, there's a lot of things here that might benefit more people. So I wanted to take the opportunity to create a series of videos with some guided introspection activities inside of them. So this will be my first one. Please let me know what you think. The goal is for me to share with you a couple of questions that you can ask yourself. You can take 5-10 minutes in a day and just kind of sit in a quiet place and ask yourself these questions. And the goal is to be able to identify thoughts, feelings, patterns of information that you're having so that you can then use that information to adapt your plan, to look at things a little bit differently than maybe you have been, which will then lead to results that are a little bit different. And the goal, of course, is for each one of us to be finding more peace, creating more joy, staying productive, and really just getting through our days collectively in a better way. So, how I'm going to do this is I'm going to share the questions with you. I'm going to give you some examples of how I've asked myself those questions, the answers that I've come up with when doing these activities for myself, and hopefully that will give you an idea of the benefits that can come from doing these types of exercises. So to start with, the very first question that I'm going to suggest you ask yourself is, am I taking responsibility to be mindful and intentional with my thoughts, my feelings, and my actions? Okay? So, what does that mean to you? Our second question is, am I taking responsibility to do better, be better, and shine brighter than I did yesterday? And question number 3 is, do I have a habit of finding the advantages within adversity? So that question really has to do with how you typically look at things. Situations that are out of your control or circumstances that arise, how do you normally handle that? How do you typically think about it? What do you usually do? Okay? So those are our 3 questions. And to share some personal examples with you, when I ask myself, am I taking responsibility to be mindful and intentional? What I'm really looking at is not a simple yes or no. If I say yes to that, I want to be able to give myself examples of how I've done that. If I say no, then I'm looking for, okay, well then how can I do that differently? So for myself, normally it would be easy for me to just say yes to that question and be like, that's an area that I'm good at. Because I spend a lot of time living intentionally, and that's a lot of the work that I do with my clients, is how can we be more intentional? I will share, over the past 2 weeks, it has been very challenging to stay mindful and intentional. We have collectively, like as a world, just so many things changing that are outside of our control right now, that it is easy to fall into a thinking pattern and behaving pattern in a way that we're reacting. And that's why it's even more important that we take personal responsibility to be mindful and intentional right now. So for me, in my life, I normally work from home. I might go to coffee shops or other offices depending on the clients that I'm working with. And I'm used to adapting because my youngest daughter has special needs and I am her primary caregiver. So I already have a life that gets moved around a lot. and plans change a lot and things get canceled, and so I am used to adapting. I've been practicing these skills for about 10 years now. However, having my daughter home 24/7 is definitely an escalated version of that. So it has caught me off guard in many ways. And so when I ask myself, am I taking responsibility to be mindful and intentional? I can say yes in certain ways, but I can also then immediately recognize where over the past 2 weeks, I haven't been as good at it as I know I can be. I have been waiting for other people or agencies or systems to come to me and be like, hey, here, you can have this, or here, let us help you with this, or this is what we have available. And that's fine, except it leaves me feeling focused more so on the things that I'm unable to do rather than on the things that I can be doing. And there's still a lot that I can be doing. So I like asking myself that question because it helps me refocus on what I can do. And I can be mindful. I can be intentional. I can still maintain my daily habits, my routine. And even if I have to make some adaptations in that, I can still decide how I'm spending my time within the limits that I have right now. I can do that. So question number 2 was, am I taking responsibility to do better, be better, and shine brighter than I did the day before? So for me, this question is again all about habits. It's about when the day is over, am I taking intentional time to reflect on how that day went? How did I handle the changes that came up today? How did I handle having Irie at home while I was trying to, get my work done and respond to clients? How did I do all of that? Okay, and then when I have that answer, I can look at it and I can say, what can I do differently tomorrow? What can I do? Not anyone else, but what can I personally do to bring more joy into tomorrow, to bring more peace, more laughter, more productivity? How can I make tomorrow a little bit better for myself and then also for the people around me? So that question usually gets me excited. Even though I'm acknowledging maybe things that I didn't handle as well as I would like to, or things that I just didn't even get done at all, that's okay. I don't dwell on it in a negative way. I simply use it to remind myself of what I can do differently tomorrow. And that is always a source of encouragement for me. Now, the third question, do I have a habit of finding the advantages within adversity? That phrase was used by John Maxwell in a leadership summit, online summit that he did last week, and I've been thinking about it ever since, because sometimes people might use that phrase, or they might think of finding an advantage as a bad thing, like taking advantage, but that's not what it means. What it really means is, do you have a habit of looking at situations to find the opportunity in them? Or do you have a habit of looking at circumstances and situations and just feeling defeated? See, we all develop patterns of thinking, the way we interpret information, and from that, we respond. Our feelings come into play based on how we are interpreting the thoughts that we have. So when a situation occurs, what is your habit of thinking? What is your habit of feeling? So when I ask myself that, I thought, okay, Heather, what are the advantages for you in this situation? And I started out by listing all of the things that I'm grateful for right now. But that's just the foundation. That's the beginning. Because finding advantages for yourself in situations of adversity is another level of that. It's like you start with the gratitude, and now it's like, what are the opportunities for me? So here's some of the things that I personally came up with. As I mentioned before, I already typically work from home with a variety of clients. One of the things that has been on my to-do list for way longer than I would like to admit is to create more online content. And that is a stepping stone in terms of me being able to put my coursework and my material into online courses for people. I've been wanting to do that for about 2 years now. I've been making like baby step progress. And this situation has moved me into a place where that can actually be my focus, because I have fewer in-person clients right now, really no in-person clients, but even in terms of working with people on Zoom, the priority is there, the audience is there, the timing is actually just better for me and for everyone else. So that's an opportunity. Another opportunity that has come from this is that one of my clients that I've been working with for about a year now owns a small business and takes quite a bit of my time and energy. And I've been probably for the past month trying to evaluate whether or not working with that client is serving my business's purpose and goals. I enjoy them, I appreciate them, I have a sense of obligation to them in wanting to continue working with them. However, the time and the resources that go into that have been one of the things that has been challenging for me to overcome when I'm looking at my overall business goals. So this particular client, due to the circumstances over the last few weeks, has laid off most of their staff and made the decision in talking with me that it would be best for us to discontinue our work right now. That is an advantage for me because it gives me the clarity that I've been looking for. It was a choice that I kind of knew I needed to make, but I was hesitating to make it. So within this adversity, there is an advantage for me because I have been able to receive clarity in terms of my direction. And I can move forward with that decision and direction with a greater sense of peace now. Another opportunity that has come from this situation is with my daughter. I think I had previously mentioned that she had a rough winter. She's been sick a lot this year, and that's been extremely challenging. However, now that she's home from school, it gives me time to evaluate the differences in her health. Is she going to get as sick at home as she was going to school? I don't know. Is it going to improve or help her anxiety? How is her personality and her health going to be now that she's at home rather than going to school every day? This is something that I would never have initiated on my own. I would never have said, okay, you know what, she's literally getting sick every week. She hasn't completed a full week of school this year, so let me take her out and see what happens. I'll be honest, I would not have come to that conclusion at this particular point. But now that it's here and I look at it, and yes, it has its own challenges, there's an opportunity there for me to listen, for me to observe my daughter, and for me to be able to gather information that is going to help me make different decisions or better decisions for her moving forward. So that's a definite advantage in this particular time as well. So those are 3 things that I came up with. I actually came up with a lot more, but I don't want to make this too long. I hope that just gives you some examples to think about, and I hope that you will take the time to think about those 3 questions for yourself. Are you taking responsibility to be mindful and intentional right now? Are you taking responsibility to do better than you did yesterday? And are you working towards having a habit of finding advantages amongst adversity? So let me know what you think. I would love to hear from you. If you're comfortable sharing your thoughts or your answers to those questions, I would love to see them or hear them. You can comment or you can send me a direct message, and I hope that this gives you just a little bit of a different angle of looking at your current circumstances and helping you find what you can do differently. Because I genuinely believe that if all of us can focus on what we can do instead of the things that we're upset that we can't do. It's going to help us all move forward. So thank you. I appreciate each one of you. I'm grateful for the opportunity to be able to reach you, and I look forward to sharing more thoughts with you soon. Have a great day.